in some countries, China, Russia in particular, as rivals, or even worse terms. So instead of seeking cooperation, it seems to be seeking some sort of confrontation with them. And therefore, this is the biggest problem from the point of view of establishing trust in the world. And they should stop this concept of a zero-sum game in which they're engaged in competition and rivalry with everybody. China has been the most important pole of growth in the world. And it accounts in general for around 25 to 30% of world growth, sometimes more during periods of economic crisis. And if we take, for example, the last 2 years of the global pandemic, China's economy grew by 10.5% and the US economy grew by 2.1%. This means that China's economy grew 5 times as fast as the United States, and China has become the main pole, therefore, of sustaining a positive dynamic within the world economy. Then the second question is, what policies does China advocate for the rest of the world? And China has become the most important economy, very clearly committed to globalization, to reducing trade barriers, to reducing investment barriers. And again, this particularly goes against the protectionist policies of the United States. This was started, of course, most dramatically by President Trump introducing tariffs against Chinese goods. And unfortunately, President Biden has not removed these tariffs. So therefore, the US has become a sort of centre of world protectionism, and China has become a centre of world globalisation. Because I think China's got a correct development strategy. I mean, one is it places people first. If you compare the results of the COVID pandemic in China and the United States, it's like night and day. In mainland China, less than 5,000 people have died from COVID. In the United States, more than 1 million people have died. But actually, the real situation is even worse than that. But secondly, it's also meant that China was able to reopen its economy more rapidly than other countries, basically because it got COVID completely under control. The United States declared that it put in its economy before lives, de facto. Well, I don't agree with that approach. But anyway, it wasn't successful because its economy grew very much less than China, which China put lives first. China's been progressively opening its economy. This has continued through the pandemic. The data speaks for itself. China's both exports and imports have been rising very sharply during the pandemic. And China has become the second largest recipient of inward investment in the world. China is the second biggest foreign country in which foreign investment takes place in the world. It used to be the case that foreign companies invested in China in order primarily to export. Now they want to participate in China's domestic economy as well. This is complete, absolute nonsense. It is to conceal what is the disaster that has unfolded in the United States, where there are more than 1 million people dead, and we're around 4 million people dead in the capitalist countries as a whole. This is a human rights absolute catastrophe. The government of these countries has failed to protect their population against this deadly disease, which can be done, as China has shown, and they don't dare to admit this. The country which is moving into recession, or very big recession, is the United States.